Nidalee. You know Nidalee. She does things like this.
And the thumbs up comes in and then he jumps back over the wall. Oh, this is perfect.
And this.
Gauge opportunity. And the slower DRX play this, the smarter they are. As Bao is going to be tagged by that Q speed. Just pops in. What the hell was that?
And if you're an old enough player of League, you may even remember this.
I'm Hotshot GG from CLG, and my favorite champion is Nidalee.
While pro players still pick Nidalee from time to time as a dominant jungler, overall she's been struggling as of late. In Platinum and up, she has a minuscule win rate of only 47.2%, and that's just barely higher in her main role as jungle, where it goes up to 47.3%. On our last video on Trundle support, one of my viewers clued me into the fact that Nidalee support was a thing, so I've done many hours of research and found one of the best Nidalee support players in the world. Leave a comment below on what champ you'd like to see next. Our summoner today is known as Lança Scriptice, or Launch Script, as we'll be referring to him from now on. And while other servers like NA aren't bold enough to try Nidalee support, Launch Script plays on the Brazilian server, where all rules go.
This is Brazil!
Like many of our other Master Plus tier support analysis videos, it seems like Launch Script created his account as a smurf last year in Season 10 to help reset his MMR and climb faster on his clear favorite champion, Nidalee. Throughout all of Season 10, the only champion he picked was Nidalee. With over 230 plus games on the champion, he exclusively played her only in the jungle. He clawed his way through the lower ranks, focusing on Nidalee jungle to quickly make his way to Diamond in less than 100 games, and just barely touched the bottom of Masters before ultimately finishing the season in Diamond 1 with a 65% win rate. This season, he continued one-tricking Nidalee with the same goal in mind: hit Masters. And while he did start the season once again bringing Nidalee to the jungle, I mean, you saw my stats earlier, Nidalee has just been having an all-around tougher time this season. After a 6-game losing streak, he decided to try Nidalee in the support role, and clearly something clicked because he found a super secret way to make sure he lands every spear. His last 30 plus games of Nidalee have all been as support, and through the games he's pulled a 55% win rate and has been able to push himself all the way into Master Tier 291 LP, where he continues to climb to this day. If you think hard about support Nidalee, she has some weaknesses that we have to talk about. Number 1, if she wants to full combo after landing a spear, she has to throw her whole body at the enemy, leaving her exposed. Her heal, while on paper looks good, is on a long cooldown that doesn't scale, making her fall short to stronger healing dedicated supports. Like all of our supports, you're going to be poor, which can hinder your ability to burst enemies down. And finally, and most importantly, now that I'm a boomer, none of her cougar jokes really apply to me, and that makes me sad. But even with all of these potential problems, Launch Script has found a way to make it work. Before we talk about his leveling order in lane, I want to stress how important it is as support Nidalee to abuse bush control. Your passive makes you faster by just being in bushes, and triples in effectiveness if you're moving towards an enemy. So this allows you to constantly move in and out of bushes to get off quick auto attacks. It also makes it harder for the enemies to see your spears coming unless an enemy chooses to waste their warding trinket. Most of the time in lane, you should be spending in bushes or at least right next to them. At level 1, he gets his W abilities, also known as Bushwhack and Pounce. He maxes this ability last, so this is the only point in the ability he will take until level 14. He uses the traps from Bushwhack, capped at 4 at level 1, to scout out enemies before minions spawn and to protect from invades. He'll also riddle his lane and the path he thinks the enemy will take to lane with them for some easy poke even before the enemy gets there. Pounce is one of Nidalee's signature abilities, and it helps him move around quickly throughout the game. At level 1, he's mostly using Pounce in conjunction with his passive to get off an auto attack and then quickly pounce away from the enemy before they have a chance to retaliate. But if the enemy walks into too many traps, it could also mean an early kill since both Trap and Pounce synergize with one another. At level 2, he'll level up his Q or Javelin Toss and Takedown abilities. He continues to abuse bush control to weave in spears for poke whenever he can chunk his opponents down. He doesn't value getting the longest range spear possible on his opponent over simply just hitting the ability most of the time. And this, in conjunction with his auto attack poking from Brush, can really whittle the enemy laners down efficiently. Takedown in Cougar form is used far less often level 2 unless an enemy is very low, allowing him to gap close with Pounce and finish a kill if he hits a spear or a trap on them. Because of Nidalee's high damage output, it's hard for most lanes to match his output at level 2 if he's landing his spears. At level 3, he levels up his E or Primal Surge and Swipe abilities. E in human form is a somewhat lackluster heal that can help Launch Script top himself and his teammates up in lane, which he does use on occasion. Even more powerful than the heal is the 20% attack speed boost that it gives at level 1, and he'll regularly juice himself or his AD carry up in the middle of a fight and trade to help push it in their favor even more, or just when pushing turrets. Swipe helps for some extra damage on all ends, but it usually is used for wave clearing if him and his AD carry need to have their wave crash so they can go back to base. Having all of your abilities at level 3 allows you to unlock your full combo. If you land a spear or a trap on an enemy, this marks them, revealing them for some time and also allowing your Cougar form W and Q to do empowered damage against them the first time the abilities are used against them. While it can be dangerous, Launch Script looks for opportunities for enemies at low health to execute. Your combo should look like this: spear or trap to mark the enemy, switch to Cougar form, gap close with the extended range from Pounce on them, E in Cougar form to get them lower, and finally use Q in Cougar form last, since it does more damage depending on the missing health of your opponent, completely blowing them up. Just like Jungle Nidalee, Launch Script is maxing his Q first as a support. Spear can do surprising amounts of damage for a support champion, and he regularly catches people off guard with his burst. He also has found a way to make sure his spear is going to hit 100% of the time. See, that wasn't just clickbait, I promise we would get here. Launch Script rushes Everfrost on Nidalee, and since she has such high mobility, he can regularly close the gap on an unsuspecting enemy, land Everfrost, and back up fast enough to do a solid amount of damage while they're snared, either setting his team up for an easy kill, or just grabbing that kill himself. Before we move to mid-game analysis, I want to shout out the sponsor of this video. Rage shout out. No, it's me. I'm the sponsor of this video. Look at me, I'm the sponsor now. If you guys are liking this so far, it would mean so much to me if you could like and subscribe. I'm going to do that annoying thing where I show you my subscriber to non-subscriber numbers now, and mine is a bit more surprising than most. I'd love to see you guys around here more often, so thanks for listening to my sponsor message, and let's get to mid-game analysis. In mid-game, Launch Script is focusing on deep warding for his team, and like our LeBlanc support video, he roams the map. Not as often as LeBlanc support, but they're similar in the aspect that both of these supports have some crazy damage, and so roaming to other lanes at the right time could mean an easy kill for either him or his ally. Again, thanks to his burst, he can also look to solo kill unsuspecting enemies thanks to his established vision control. This somewhat depends on how far ahead he got in lane, but if a squishy opponent eats an Everfrost or big spear to the face, or both, it can just mean an easy kill and some quick cash for him. When teamfighting as Nidalee, Launch Script has 3 jobs. Number 1 is to land spears. Even before the team fight, if Nidalee is landing spears on the enemies, that can make them completely back off or set your team up for some easy kills. You can still do some great poke as support, and since spears only have a 6-second cooldown, lower with cooldown reduction, you can get several of these off before and during a team fight. Number 2 is to catch enemies with Everfrost. It can be used as peel, but more commonly Launch Script uses Everfrost as a means of locking enemies down for kills, giving support Nidalee some utility that she'd otherwise not have in her base kit, and setting himself up or allies for these easy kills. Number 3 is to destroy high-value targets that are sectioned off from their team. He doesn't ever really want to be in the middle of a team fight, so Launch Script will typically sit in the outskirts looking for enemies he can assassinate with his execute damage and spears. Turning a 5v5 into a 4v5 most of the time just means an easy win for his team, and that's how he regularly dominates team fights on a champion who really has no business team fighting. Some quick Nidalee tips and tricks I learned while watching Launch Script play. Your Pounce is important for moving around the map as Nidalee, so here's a quick montage I put together of every wall you can hop over as Nidalee on Summoner's Rift. There's also this helpful map you can use, which I'll link in the description for reference. On support Nidalee, it can let you avoid vision when roaming or deep warding into the enemy jungle with less risk and time wasted. Trap placement in lane is important, and aside from trying to predict where your enemies will go, a safe bet is hugging the walls from the river with them. Here are 2 pictures with examples of what I mean. It's good to place traps here because 1, the minion line will avoid hitting them, and 2, if someone is hugging the corner when pathing, they'll run into them all the time. At the very least, just make sure when you place traps, the minion line won't hit them. And lastly, traps are also important to use as budget wards in laning phase and throughout the game. He places wards in Tribush, River, and other areas to protect him and his laners, to get sight on the enemy jungle, and to just generally be annoying. For his build, he starts every game with his Spell Thief's Edge. From there, he'll start to rush his mythic item, Everfrost, picking up some level 1 boots along the way as well. He'll then rush to finish his boots, always getting Sorcerer's Shoes. After that, he'll build into a Hextech Alternator for more burst. He'll typically sit on this and then finish his Zhonya's Hourglass. If he's truly dominating though, he may swap out the Zhonya's for a Void Staff instead. Once his Zhonya's or Void Staff is complete, he'll then finish a Horizon Focus using the Hextech Alternator he bought earlier. If the game goes long, or he needs some more oomph in his build, he'll build an Elixir of Sorcery. And for his 6th item, and throughout the whole game, as a good support does, he's buying Control Wards to win the Vision game. For his runes, he takes Summon Airy for more damage on his abilities and some synergy with his heal, Mana Flow Band to help with mana problems, Transcendence for scaling ability haste, and then Scorch for more damage in lane. He also brings Biscuit Delivery for better sustain in lane, and Cosmic Insight for lower cooldowns on summoner spells. For his flex runes, he normally brings 2 Adaptive Force, and either 1 Magic Resist or 1 Armor, depending on his lane opponents. If you guys want to see me try this Nidalee Support build live, I'll be streaming every Tuesday and Thursday on Twitch at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I try all of these random support videos that I make, so I hope I'll catch you guys there. Of course, also, as I mentioned earlier, if you could, please subscribe and like the video. It helps me get my videos in front of you in the future, and I love having conversations with you all in the comments. I at least will heart all those comments down there once you guys make them, so thank you so much for all the participation we've been getting. We're also nearing 1,000 subscribers on the channel, so if you can help me push to that goal, that is amazing. We'll be doing an interesting special for that 1,000 subscriber goal that we're about to hit, so I hope to see a bunch of new faces around here for that. And until then, I hope you guys have a great day or night or whatever it is for y'all. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.